Greetings and welcome. My name is Ralph Blauvelt, and I'd like to tell you about Gerrit Hendricksen Blauvelt, the immigrant ancestor of the Blauvelt family in America, whose emigration story had been obscured and previously misinterpreted for almost a century. On January 18, 2022, I gave a presentation at the New City Library in Rockland County, New York, about my new book, 400 Years in America. Here you can see the cover of the book. In the last part of the presentation, I described my research into the Blauvelt ancestor, Gerrit Hendricksen from Deventer. I began with a personal anecdote. On December 29, 2021, I received an email from a Mr. Long, a descendant of Gerrit Hendricksen Blauvelt. He wrote, quote, "I am very interested in the information that some question some aspect of our first ancestor's arrival here and/or his marriages. Would it be possible to elaborate?" Unquote. I wrote back to him, "I am the Association of Blauvelt Descendants historian and former genealogist. I did the research that questioned the identity of Gerrit Hendricksen and his arrival here. There is no question about his marriage that identifies him in the records as Gerrit Hendricksen from Deventer. Unfortunately, the story published in the 1957 Blauvelt Family Genealogy and found in most all secondary sources says that a Gerrit Hendricksen from Nijkerk was the Blauvelt ancestor. The old story goes back to the second annual reunion of the Association of Blauvelt Descendants at the Reformed Church in Japan in 1927. At the meeting, George H. Budke, a respected Rockland County historian, gave a presentation in which he suggested that a Gerrit Hendricksen from Nijkerk in the province of Gelderland came to America on the ship Kalmar Nickel in 1638 and was the Blauvelt ancestor. He discounted the fact, among others, that the Blauvelt ancestor was from Deventer in the province of Overijssel, saying that the two towns were near each other, and he based his theory on other circumstantial evidence. This theory of the Blauvelt ancestor was published in a 1931 article and then published in the 1957 Blauvelt Family Genealogy. The genealogy, in turn, became the primary source for the story of this Gerrit Hendricksen thought to be the Blauvelt ancestor. It was repeated again and again in secondary sources, and it was generally accepted as an established fact. Now we can understand the significance of this view of Deventer in the province of Overijssel that was published in the 1957 Blauvelt genealogy. Deventer was the place of Gerrit Hendricksen's baptism. Although the Blauvelt ancestor was from Deventer, the genealogy suggested that the Gerrit Hendricksen from Nijkerk was somehow the same person. When I was the genealogist for the Blauvelt Association in the 1990s, I noticed several puzzling inconsistencies with conflicting information in the old story of Gerrit Hendricksen's emigration to New Netherland. Without getting into all the details, The basic problem seemed to be a case of mistaken identity, though it was not clear to me at first. As the genealogist for the association, I felt responsible to explain how these two seemingly different people could be the same person as claimed in the old story. On a trip to the Netherlands in 1998, I spent some time researching at the National Maritime Museum in Amsterdam. I was still trying to find the evidence that would resolve the discrepancies in the story of Gerrit Hendricksen's origin, and at the museum, I met another historian, Laurens van der Laan. He was compiling a database of all the first settlers of New Amsterdam, and he said he understood my problem. He did not want to disappoint me, but the reason I could not find the connection between Gerrit Hendricksen from Nijkerk, who came to America in 1638, and the Gerrit Hendricksen from Deventer, the Blauvelt ancestor, was because there wasn't any. They were simply not the same person. Though all my research was leading me to the same conclusion, I was disappointed. I wanted to believe the story as it appeared in the BLAUVELT Family Genealogy of 1957. But then I realized that all my hard work was not in vain. Now I had the opportunity to set the record straight. In 2002, I wrote a detailed article on the origin of Gerrit Hendricksen Blauvelt and gave an address on the same topic to the Association of Blauvelt Descendants on 19 September 2009. The address was subsequently published in the association's newsletter, the Blauvelt News. But it wasn't until 2016 that I published a book, A Blauvelt Descendant, that presented the findings of my research. And here you can see the cover of the book with a photo of the De Wint house that was in the 1680s George Washington's headquarters on several occasions. It's a Masonic historic site in Japan, New York. In the same year, 2016, the Historical Society of Rockland County published my article, The Origin of Gerrit Hendricksen Blauvelt, in their periodical, South of the Mountains. And here you can see the cover of the South of the Mountains with the Blauvelt Wapen, or shield, the Blauvelt shield. It's a gold bar with 3 gold spheres on a blue field or a blue background. Here you can see the Blauvelt shield in color, and with the gold bar, 3 gold spheres on the blue field. And blue field is the probable derivation of the Blauvelt name. My current book, 400 Years in America, presents the documentary facts of Gerrit Hendricksen's life, the one from Deventer, with a plausible explanation for the origin of the Blauvelt ancestor, but without any reference to the old story. In brief, I concluded that Gerrit Hendricksen was a descendant of Peter of Enkhuizen, the first known Blauvelt, and a member of the merchant ruling class in the Netherlands. Gerrit came to America with his relative, WILLEM ALBERTSEN BLAUVELT, captain of the ship Lagars, in 1641. In 1646, he married Marie Mole, the eldest daughter of New Amsterdam's shipbuilder, Lambert Mole. Also, In 1646, through his privileged relationship with Captain Blauvelt and director Willem Kieft, Gerrit Hendricksen van Deventer received the grant of a plantation over 50 acres, making him the next-door neighbor of Petrus Stuyvesant when he became the director of the West India Company in 1647. Despite my books and articles, the email I received in December and the proliferation of secondary sources repeating the old story of Gerrit Hendricksen is evidence that few people know the new story. But now, you know the old story and the new story too. Thank you.